who don't compete on price at all. They compete on other barriers to entry. So for example, let's take an example here. If you look at Titan, right, you'll see that free cash flow compounding in the last uh, 20 years has been 30%, which is 200x. And unsurprisingly, share prices have also moved proportionately, around 200 to 230x growth in the share price. Now, Titan has the highest making charges of any jeweler. Right, they're making charges that are good 30% higher. Titan, at no stage in their existence, Titan went to market and said, boss, we are the cheapest for making charges. So why is it that Titan beats the local jeweler Black and Blue? Why are the local jewelers winding up all over across the country? Right, the local jewelers are winding up because on 4 different fronts, they have no answer to Titan. Right, let's do this. Let's start with the simplest and we'll move to the most complex. The simplest is cost of capital. Titan borrows in the CP, commercial paper market in Bombay, at 4%. The local jeweler would be lucky if they can get working capital at 9%. Right? There's a huge gap in cost of capital between Titan and the local jeweler. Even the regional chains will be lucky if they can get working capital at 8%. Right? There's no comparison. Secondly, on talent, human capital. Right? So if you see Titan's annual report, for the last 30 years, they've been run by IIT, IIM stars, right? So whether it was Bhaskar Bhatt till 2 years ago or CKV today, the creme de la creme, the best IIT, IIM talent, the smartest chartered accountants run Titan. The local jeweler will be lucky if a BCom pass joins him. Forget about IIT, IIM. Third area. Starting 01, Titan launched this concept called a caratometer, right? So using a vetted electronic instrument, they gave people assurance about the quality of their products. In addition, every wedding season, they launch 3 collections. So whether you're looking for a Tamil collection, a Punjabi collection, a Marwadi collection, a Marathi collection, Titan has it sorted out. For every part of the country, there's a separate collection. These collections are modeled by leading actresses from all across the country. Titan stores are from 3-story temples to jewelry, and typically in glamorous locations. You ask any affluent Indian woman, she wants her diamond-studded jewelry from Tanishq. She doesn't want it from a hole in the wall in T Nagar or Karol Bagh or Ghatkopar or Sarjapur. She wants to go to the Tanishq location. The designs are modern, the quality is high, the intellectual property is cutting edge. Right, the local jeweler will struggle to launch 1 collection every other season. Right, the working capital costs, the design costs are heavy. And the final layer of monopoly, right? And this is one of this ability to constantly up the ante, constantly crush the competition with newer and newer layers of monopoly compounding is very distinctive feature of India's greatest compounders. Just before he retired, Bhaskar Bhatt acquired a company called Carrot Lane for around 300 crores. He acquired 65% of Carrot Lane for 300 crores, right? So around between the first and second waves of COVID, my daughter took me to buy a present for my wife at the local Carrot Lane near our store. And that's when I fully realized how disruptive Carrot Lane will be for the rest of the jewelry industry. Remember, after growing like this 32% cash compounding, Titan accounts for 6% of the market share. In the world's largest jewelry market, Titan still has 94% left to conquer, right? So a disruption like this, a disruption like Carrot Lane is very powerful. So what does Carrot Lane do? Why is it such a disruptive model? So first off, if you go to a Carrot Lane store, it's typically 1/6 the size of a typical Tanishq store. So when I initially went in, I was underwhelmed because it's a much smaller store in a busy shopping area. And there are very few SKUs in the store. So there were only, I think, 40 SKUs in the store. And it's meant to be like that. I didn't realize it when I first stepped in. There'll be 6 or 7 sales assistants with an iPad in their hand. So they will then say, look, if you can't find what you're looking for in these SKUs, which you almost never will, why don't you look on our iPad? Our entire collection is there. On the iPad, there's some 5,000 SKUs, right? So my daughter chose one. We chose a ring for my wife. My daughter chose something for my wife. And the lady then said, okay, we will, now that you've chosen it, we will place the order. So I asked her, what do you mean place the order? She said, look, we don't make these things. These are outsourced to 300 other jewelry manufacturers. Once you choose, only then will the order go through, right? And I immediately realized there fundamentally changes the inventory model. The conventional jeweler puts it in a store, and then you go and buy it. Here, Titan waits for you to order on the iPad, and then they tell the third-party manufacturer. Then she said, so will you pay cash or card? So obviously paid through card, but I realized it's a negative working capital model. I am paying upfront. And I'm doing so because I trust Titan. A regular jeweler, I'm not so sure I'm going to pay upfront, right? I paid the entire amount upfront. So it's a negative working capital cycle. They are turning the inventory model around. They're turning the cash flow model around. The store is small, so sales per square feet are through the roof, right? And then she gave the next punch. She said, if you download our app, you'll get 15% off on the price of the jewelry. So obviously I downloaded the app and I got the off, right? The discount. But as soon as I did so, over the next month, I realized how powerful that is. Because in our country, as you might know, there are very few data privacy laws. So once you download any app in India, your phone is then completely captured, right? Your text messages are read, your geolocation is open for reading, your notifications can be read. So obviously once Titan studied, there's a whole ecosystem in India of tech companies who do this on an outsourced basis. They could figure out my income, they could figure out what do I spend money on, when our birthdays are, when our wedding anniversaries are, and as a result, the cross-selling blitz began. And it's very effective cross-selling. They know exactly when our wedding anniversary is coming up, when my wife's birthday is coming up, when my daughter's birthday is coming up. And as a result, I'm cross-sold at an opportune juncture. So Carrot Lane changes the jewelry industry's model. It makes it lower, less space consumptive. So your sales per square feet go through the roof. It takes it into a working capital negative model, where the inventory doesn't sit on your balance sheet, it sits on the third parties, and it puts you on a cash, you pay upfront. And thirdly, the cost of customer acquisition radically comes down because of cross selling. So Titan is a great example where price is simply not a variable, and our job is to look for such companies where the barriers to entry are absolute. There's really very little competition to these companies, and therefore their ROCs are high because competition has been crushed by using a combination of clever business process and technology. ROCs are 45% on average, which means free cash flows are very high. 20% extra capital is reinvested every year. As a result, free cash flows grow at 25%, and we and our 10,000 clients compound our wealth at that rate.